Okay, so far we created our site. We connected to the site through Dreamweaver. We created the structure of our first page. We added content to that structure using the bootstrap approach, and then we adjusted the look and formatting of that site or that page using CSS. We have original bootstrap CSS, and then we have our CSS sheet that overrides those bootstrap rules to make the changes we want. Now we're going to see how we can make changes based on screen size. So if I look down here at this bottom section, which I called my goodbye section, I see the text is pretty big. It looks alright on the desktop size, but if I get down to a tablet view or horizontal tablet view or cell phone view, it looks a little too big. It's a little distracting. The text is too big for that screen size, in my opinion. So what we can do is make a rule that overrides the existing rule based on screen size or media query. So what I'm doing, I'm making sure I'm on this rule that defines the size of this text is on my H2. Alright, so it's H2 container fluid goodbye H2 defines the size of that text in the font. So I'm clicked on that. I'm looking at all. I'm looking at my biz CSS sheet. And I'm going to add a media query. It defines size. I'm going to say, for this rule to work, my screen size could have a max width of 991 pixels. I'm taking that from up here. So 991 pixels. Now these are some default sizes, and they may vary a little bit from iPhone to iPad to Android to Cricket to Commodore 64 to whatever computer you have. But these are some basic default ones that are pretty safe to go by. Okay, so I'm going to add this media adjustment. So I'm on biz CSS. I'm on that max width 991. If I don't have one of these selected, it's going to affect everything. So I'm selecting that one. I'm add a selector. Okay, so it's just going to affect that at that below that screen width. So I hit enter or return. I'm on my text, and I'm going to change the font size. I think it's right now it's like at 50 or 60 points. I can change it to 30 point. There we go. So it looks a little better. And I could change anything on this rule. I could change the margins, the padding, the alignment. I could change the font color. So let me change the font color just so we can see it a little bit more, make it a little more evident. Okay, so let's see what happens. Now when I adjust that screen size with this little adjuster here in Dreamweaver, or if I would do this in a computer window, it's a larger size, I think it's 70 point, and it's red. Now when I get below that 991 pixel width, you see how it switches. And I can make even more detailed adjustments. I can make it under 767 or even less, so maybe it'll change in size once it gets down to a cell phone size. Okay, so I can do that with anything, with any of my CSS rules.